it's Oscar Sunday, and I figured now was as good a time as any to talk about some of the movies and television that I've been watching lately, since I did try to watch some of the Oscar contenders. However, I am obviously not motivated to comb my hair or do my makeup or put in my contacts, so you'll just have to live with me in this disheveled state. We're in California, we're having all this fun rain, so you don't even want to get out of bed, much less do anything above and beyond the bare minimum. So that's where we're at. Sorry for the glare on the glasses or whatever else might happen, but we're just gonna jump right into it and talk about we'll talk about things I've watched. I think Bullet Train is where I ended the last video about things I've been watching, and I've been keeping a list as the year goes on, so I'm just going to pick up. So you see me looking a little bit to the side, it's because I have my list here. I did finally watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everybody kept telling me to watch it, and I did finally get around to it, and I really enjoyed it. I've always liked Michelle Yeoh. I apologize for my son bouncing around in his room, everybody feeling cooped up, but anyway. I've always enjoyed Michelle Yeoh, and I love seeing her just continue to make amazing movies. And this one was a lot of fun. It was, eccentric and different, and just, it's nice to see something that isn't the same kind of thing, because I'm kind of tired of all of the formula in Hollywood these days, all of the superhero movies, and all of the kind of monotony. So anyway, yes, I don't have a whole lot to say about it except that I just really enjoyed it. It was unique, and I hope it does well at the Oscars this evening. I wanted to film this before we had results so I could get my thoughts out without being influenced by, whatever the results end up being. But here's hoping that Everything Everywhere All at Once does well, takes home a few good statues. I then also watched Tar. And speaking of monotonous, look, there's like an interesting story in there somewhere, but it was very, to take a musical phrase, one note. It was longer than it needed to be. It, was making subtle jabs at the whole classist elite, genius theory of how people who are considered genius get away with things, and then sometimes they stop getting away with things when they tread on enough people like under them that those people rise up and do something about it. But it was just kind of dull for me. I mean, I actually kind of enjoyed that last scene where it turns out, spoilers, but it turns out she's forced to go conduct symphonies for anime conventions or gaming conventions. I don't know if you've ever done the thing where they do a live symphony for a movie. We do it sometimes, where this live symphony plays the score as you watch the film, and that's fun. I really enjoy it, and I get the sense that that's kind of what Tar was doing at the end of that film. She had gone to Asia somewhere and was kind of forced to do that and was considered a step down. But honestly, I think if I were in a symphony, and I'm not musical at all, but if I were in a symphony, I think it would be kind of fun to to play a musical score with a movie as opposed to just the same kinds of classical. I don't know. Anyway, overall, it was fine. It was very much of the Oscar movie type, and the acting was of that type as well. Cate Blanchett's character was, again, just kind of one note. She's a fantastic actress, but I don't know. I just was underwhelmed, I guess. The one TV show we tried to watch was Poker Face. We only got 2 episodes in. So the first episode was all set up, and it actually really kind of bored me. I was just uninterested. And then the second episode was better. But the technique of showing us the crime and then watching the main character, I don't even remember any of these characters' names, watching her figure it out by basically being really good at, I don't know, cold reading or whatever, that didn't interest me. I think it's kind of a Columbo-esque thing, right? But I don't know. I feel like it would have been more fun if we were trying to solve it with her. And then the whole thing with the actress kind of keeping anti-Semitic friends. I didn't feel compelled enough to keep watching. People kept telling me, well, the third episode, you got to get to the third episode. But after some of that stuff came out, I just didn't. I felt even less compelled, let's say, to keep watching the show. I like Rian Johnson a lot, and I usually like his work. But for this one, I don't know. I just wasn't drawn on to keep going. And then we watched Top Gun Maverick. Finally watched Top Gun Maverick, and I loved it. I remember liking Top Gun way back when I was a kid, when, it came out, but this one I enjoyed a lot more even than the first one. And I think maybe because we focused more on the whole, flying thing and less on the romance. I mean, the romance was there, obviously, and this was almost like, a rehash, but better. So I don't know. I just really enjoyed that movie a lot. I can't believe it didn't get nominated for cinematography. That to me blows my mind. But yeah, it was just that was just a crowd pleasing movie, and just a lot of fun. It's tightly written, classic kind of film, and I enjoyed it for that. Now I realize I sound a little hypocritical because I'm like, I'm tired of the same old thing. But when was the last time you saw a movie like Top Gun? Like, it feels old school, but in a good way. Anyway, and we watched Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Okay, so to be fair, I didn't like the first Black Panther. I didn't dislike it. I don't know. I was indifferent to it, and this one I was also indifferent to, and the whole side thing with, I'm just gonna say Martin Freeman and Elaine from Seinfeld, because who knows anymore who all these characters are? I can't keep track of them, and I don't care enough to keep track of them. And that was like a whole other thing that was just kind of shoehorned into this story about T'Challa dying and who's going to be the new Black Panther and this underwater world or whatever that isn't Atlantis, because now it's, I don't know, it's like Aztec or something, or Mayan. Anyway, it was long, and yeah, I don't know. I was never a huge Marvel movie person. There are definitely ones I enjoyed. I enjoyed like the first Iron Man movie. I enjoyed a couple of the Thor movies. I like pretty much all the Captain America movies. But the longer it goes on, the less impressed or intrigued or interested I am. I just can't be invested in this many different characters and TV shows and movies. I'm just over it. And yeah, I don't know. I do kind of hope Angela Bassett takes the Oscar though, because I do think she in her scenes was really just strong. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And we watched Elvis. Okay, so the whole frame story with the Colonel and the voiceover, and then Tom Hanks's weird accent, because the guy Tom Parker, Colonel Tom Parker, that wasn't his real name. He was some Dutch immigrant, illegal immigrant who and that was the whole point of him not being able to take Elvis on international tours, because he couldn't leave the country and get in and out of the country. He couldn't get a passport. Anyway, that whole frame story was kind of a weird way to tell this story, and then the rest of it just felt like kind of highlight reel of, hey, remember this Elvis thing that happened, and this Elvis. I don't know. was fine. It was definitely, I mean, I knew from the first frame I was watching a Baz Luhrmann movie. I mean, it looks like a Baz Luhrmann movie, and so definitely that was, it was like, wow, okay. And, you know, for me, like, I've liked some Baz, and I've disliked some Baz. Like, I do love Moulin Rouge, and now I'm blanking on, that Romeo and Juliet, for its time, I think was very, like, popular. I enjoyed Gatsby, though. I don't remember Australia. I know I saw it. I don't remember it. Like, what just big void in my brain. So, you know, but, yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was exactly kind of what I expected it was going to be. And yet, I don't know. I thought Austin Butler did really well. But again, like, it was kind of one thing. So there wasn't a whole lot to... I don't want to say there wasn't a whole lot to it, because, I mean, it looked like hard work. It looked like hard work. And yet it's not as if Elvis as a character evolves a whole lot. So it was a lot of hard work, but it was not like a character evolution or arc or anything like that. It was just more like his, like, career path. And I think for me, it's more interesting to watch characters develop and change over time. And I didn't really feel like Elvis ever did that. So, and I don't know if that's true of the man, but, you know, this just felt very surface. It didn't, you know, it was not some kind of in-depth exploration of Elvis as a person. It was more like, here's his career. Remember that? He died when I was like a year old, so I don't know anything about Elvis, except that my mom used to have us play the Christmas album every year when we put the decorations up. That's my main Elvis association. We had to watch Jailhouse Rock in film school. Remember that? I don't know. Anyway, and finally we watched The Fabelmans. I have loved Steven Spielberg since I was a child, and yet, my first thought was he was too lazy to write an autobiography, so he made this movie. And look, you know, the whole high school thing that happens like late into the film when they move to California, and I feel like that should have been the movie. It should have been like some kind of weird twist on a John Hughes film. But the rest of it, I don't know. I didn't care. I didn't like Michelle Williams. To be fair, I've seldom seen her in roles that I cared for, so I think maybe either the kinds of movies she makes are not for me, or there's something about her that doesn't appeal to me. I can't put my finger on it. But, yeah, no, it wasn't for me. And Paul Dano's just creepy. Dano? I don't know how he says it, but there's something about him every time I see him that just creeps me out. I wish, you know what, it's like, he's kind of got like a James Spader meets, who else? Anyway, I don't know, there's something about him. Oh, Richard Thomas, that's what it is. It's James Spader meets Richard Thomas in this kind of mishmash, and it's unsettling to me. So between the two of them being the parents, and then the family drama stuff, just, I don't know, I didn't care. Like, I felt like the high school thing was way more interesting and should have been, like, centered in the film. But that's just me. You know, Steve is a fantastic filmmaker and deserves to tell his story however he sees fit. And yeah, I thought it was okay, but again, longer than it needed to be. A lot of these movies going 2.5 hours long. They don't need to be that long, guys. You're not saying anything that, like, profound that you need to tack, 30 more minutes onto your film. Like, you don't. Everything Everywhere All at Once is the only one of those that needed to be as long as it was. I don't even know how long that movie was because it didn't feel long, but Tar felt long. Wakanda Forever felt long. Elvis felt long. The Fabelmans felt long. You don't need, learn to cut some of that. Learn to cut it. Okay? We're tired of our, 2.5, 3 hour movies. They just, got other things to do. Anyway, that is it for what I've watched lately. And if you've watched any of these, or if there's anything you think I should watch that I would like, let me know. And we'll be, doing the Oscar ballot thing tonight and enjoying that and going from there. In the meantime, take care.